Let's analyze the districts.
Here are Bajmova, Volja, Torgovec, Prague. How much can an airport influence real estate prices? It will be one of the largest transport hubs, both for airports and train stations. Based on this, in fact, real estate prices change. As soon as the first shovel hits the ground, there's an immediate 20% increase. Districts like Włochy and Ursus, due to increased living comfort, will rise in price again. It's logical if you think about it. That's exactly it. Well, yes. Which districts will soon increase in price? And what do I look at when analyzing and thinking about what will generally increase in price and what won't? What is the most important thing? What are the main factors? Often, it's logistics. Looking at how logistics develop and where people generally need to go and whether they need to go at all, based on this, in fact, the price of real estate changes. Measuring distance, especially in the capital, should be done in a Klitschko-like manner. Yes, that is 50 kilometers. It takes 2 hours to travel, or how should it be said? Time. You don't measure in kilometers, you measure distance in minutes. That's all. That's how it should be done. And so, look, what's important? There's such a thing as just getting somewhere quickly. That's one thing. We look at the metro trams, mainly, yes, for most people, or a wide road without traffic jams, yes, or without traffic lights. And there's another aspect, and it's the overall traffic density. Traffic density in the area or in the city. Traffic density can be caused by a very important factor, such as the largest in Europe. Transport port, CPC, Central Communication Port, which is now starting to be built in Baranov. This port in Baranov will be built between Łódź and Warsaw. It will be one of the largest transport ports, both airports and railway stations. And if you think about how many people will come to Warsaw every day, you can assume that the eastern part of Warsaw and the Ursus district and, for example, everything that reaches the center might increase in value. Why? Because simply more tourists will come from there who will need somewhere to stay overnight. And in general, from Baranowo to Warsaw, the 50 kilometers is such a golden highway, which in my opinion will significantly increase in value, and it's worth paying attention to. When will this port be? It seems they wanted to start some flights there as early as 2027. But based on the construction plans, well, it's at least 10 years from now, meaning it will be fully ready and operational. Somewhere in 10 years. So around 2034. Yes, that's correct.
For real estate, that's not much.
Look, overall, it's not a slow pace. It seems like a lot, right? But we're already at an age where we can say, like, those 10 years flew by very quickly. Honestly, yes, just yesterday, I remember getting on a train, on a bus. For the first time in my life, I was going to Poland. Like it was yesterday, I remember. I remember what I said. I remember relatives and so on. You see, those 10 years just flew by like that. So yes, another 10 years. If we discuss the CPC, we'll be like, do you remember when we were there? And now 10 years have passed and it's already there.
Great, you've watched up to this point, which means you're really interested in real estate in Poland. Support us by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. And write a comment below the video. And if you're interested in professional assistance with buying, selling, or renting real estate in Poland, you can contact us. You'll find all the links below the video. And let's continue watching the episode.
And speaking of airports, how much can a strong airport influence real estate prices? There is one in Warsaw, a very beautiful, cool, modern airport called Chopin Airport, and they wanted to close this airport completely. But they decided to reformat it. Yes.
Another point is that this Chopin, I was surprised, is located quite close inside the city, you know. Somehow, right, in the city, somehow.
Yes, it's in the city, but its runways are positioned in such a way right along the ring road, so the plane doesn't fly over the city, but very, very calmly.
I heard there are fields there, right?
Yes, mostly there. But still, you see, there's the Włochy district, there's the Ursus district, this is eastern and southeastern Warsaw, which have been actively developed recently. And now, living there, you hear the noise of airplanes. Yes, there is that. You can even hear them. You can almost reach out and touch them from the top floor. They fly very low there. There are many of them, and it's like every 20 minutes something arrives. Therefore, it was decided that as soon as the first planes are launched at this CPK, all IPO air traffic will immediately move there. Passenger. Chopin Airport will be used for cargo transport and military purposes, so there will be significantly fewer planes flying. And this means that areas like Włochy and Ursus, due to the increased comfort of living, will logically see a rise in prices. It's reasonable to think about it, well, yes, let's analyze the area, but it can't be as if the fame went. It's difficult to analyze every time directly because for an area to significantly increase in price, several billion zlotys need to be invested in that area, preferably. Then it will somehow have an impact. And smaller investments, like opening a hospital, opening some British school, opening something like that, building, I don't know, another swimming pool.
Build a lot of kindergartens.
A lot of kindergartens. This won't significantly increase, actually. It won't significantly increase the attractiveness of this area, and especially the prices in this area. It might increase the price of a neighborhood or a particular street. In short, everything within a 500-meter radius, but definitely not the whole city, and definitely not the entire large district. You can look at, I don't know, on a smaller scale, you can look at some parks, cultural centers, things like that, which are important to people. And also within a 500-meter radius. Real estate there will constantly increase significantly in price because there are simply few parks. And there is always a high demand for this housing and real estate in general. It actually costs a lot there among the important points, among the fundamental ones. The same transport interchange. That is, we talked about the huge flow of people whose first point of contact with Warsaw will be Ursus, yes, from Zboranów. But there's also the metro. And the metro is precisely one of the fundamental factors for price growth. Because there's Bajmowa, Wola, Targówek, Prague. These are areas that have significantly increased in price compared to others. Just because the second metro line was opened. There will be a third metro line. It will go from Rondo via Trasnashwy further through the southern part of Prague and reach Mokotów, through the Siekierki area, through their Selce, this whole story. It will be coming in. And thus, they plan to start building it in 4 years, in 2028. As soon as the first shovel hits the ground, there will be an immediate 20% increase in that area. That's how it will be. That's how it was, and that's how it will be. Then there's the fourth metro line, actually, and it's also been planned. It will run parallel to the first one and only somewhere in the north. We have the red one, the red line. The first is the blue line, meaning the one that goes from south to north and vice versa. And it will run parallel, but more along the Will, partly along the Will. Then it will end somewhere at the very top and continue towards Białołęka. And look, well, it won't be launched very soon. The planning and design will only be completed in 2027. And then there will be some additional work. So it will probably take about 10 more years, assuming there are no delays and so on. We are interested in the price increase, not for a year or two, because that's generally some kind of speculation that won't yield much. If we are talking about long-term investments like for 10, 20 or 30 years, because all multi-billion projects are generally investments for years, right? And so, for example, one of the very cool investments that is actually starting to be built is an investment. It's called FSO, Park. What's the deal with this project? Firstly, it's a 25-year project, because it will be built in stages over all 25 years. It's 62 hectares. I don't know. Can you imagine hectares in your head?
Yes, I can. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And what will it be? Is it a park?
No.
Just the name of the park.
Yes. It's a huge residential complex that will be built there in 10 stages, so to speak.
A mini city like that.
With 12,000 apartments, there will be more than 10 schools and a huge park. Inside this residential complex, 20,000 or even more people will find housing there.
And this will be once in some...
Look, it will be right at the beginning of Białołęka, as soon as it starts, on the site of the FSO car manufacturing plant. You know Diolenis, the car? That's what they made there. 52 hectares. Yes, 9 developers pooled their money because they couldn't afford to buy this land on their own. 9 developers pooled their money. And they will build all of this together.
To understand the scale, if it's 10 schools, look, I'm from the city of Enerhodar, Ukraine, Zaporizhzhia region. And in our city, there are about 60,000 people. To provide schools for such a number of people, it was necessary to have 7 schools, and these 7 schools were packed to the brim with students. That is, roughly speaking, in the 7th grade, you had a 7th grade. And there was A, B, V, G, D, Z, Z. And this was in one school. So that's about it. If we had 7 schools, then this is 10 schools, as they calculated. So it's an entire city. They are simply planning to build a city like the one I lived in.
And the city up to the microdistrict is huge. Many microdistricts are being built with large housing complexes. They have 2 blocks back. Here it is, 2 blocks. And this will be another set of 2 blocks.
It's kind of cool look.
The construction of such a scale can increase the property value across the entire area.
But at the same time, Street Białołęka is the only place where I still see wild boars.
It's a huge district. In fact, Białołęka is like half of Warsaw. That is, it's just an enormous area. There are quite urbanized sections of this field and forest. And there are still, yes, fields and forests. That is somewhere on the outskirts, far away there. Deer run, wild boars run. Nature is truly flourishing there. Some people love it. Some buy it because they can't afford the closer districts. But because of this, it's cheaper, due to being far away.
Is it the price per square meter or a typical one-room apartment of 40 square meters?
12. Look at this. The one that's further away on the outskirts, you can find something for up to 12,000. The one that's more urbanized, we even sold an apartment there for 17,000. I was very surprised that people are willing to pay such money for this area, for this residential complex, because you can almost get something in the center there. You're sitting, yes, per square meter. Just like that. It's a great residential complex. People wanted it. They saw that they would grow old there in that apartment. And so they wanted it. They bought it. Well, no, overall, 12, 13. That's the normal price for a secondary market.
To the center from here by car, approximately, without traffic. How long with traffic? I don't even know.
It depends on which part, but approximately 45, 60 minutes. Just really.
Be prepared. Without traffic, yes. With traffic lights, yes.
Well, yes, it's quite far.
Just so people understand.
Everything is there. Like, you don't really need to leave from there. You work in the center. It's not a hassle.
Area.
Yes. Well, in general, if you just live there, have your workplace there, or work remotely, but everything is actually there. I mean, whatever you need for life.
School, a kiosk for kids.
Of course.
A little shop there.
And a swimming pool, parks, forest, and a shopping center. Absolutely everything is there. So in that regard, everything is fine. But if you want to stroll in the center or buy beer in the suburbs, then yes, you'll have to spend an hour and a half one way.
Okay. What else about the areas?
About the areas. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. So such large investments, they can increase the area's value. And in general, anything that raises the prestige of an area can also increase its value. For example, Prague South, Prague Punak are areas that have always been less in demand due to once high crime rates, due to some distrust in these areas because they were underdeveloped and so on. But then we have Kneser Praski, very beautiful. In my opinion, the most beautiful site in Warsaw, if you compare it with these restored places like Norblin, Browar, and Elektrownia, Kneser, the most beautiful, the largest, the most interesting site, and it's in Prague. Everything around this Kneser has significantly increased in price. Port Praski, an incredibly beautiful residential complex, probably also one of the most beautiful like these. And recently they completed Bohemia, and Bohemia probably surpassed both of them. These are like little gems where once you enter, you don't want to leave at all. It's that beautiful. It's an industrial loft with high ceilings. In the apartments themselves? Yes, in the apartments themselves too. It's an elevated standard. Overall, these apartments have an elevated standard. Everything is, in beautiful orange brick with black windows and inserts. There, some historical elements are preserved for sure. In the Bohemian area, there's a tall chimney. On Kneser, there are some elements from the past life of this site. They even built a museum there. They used to distill vodka on this site. So, these kinds of features, because they are there, there's another residential complex like Soho. Yes, they generally elevate the recognition of this area and add some prestige, because Kneser itself couldn't achieve that. But when several of them appeared, everyone thought they're rebuilding this Prague. It's like it's getting a second life, right? If you take a walk from the Praskova port, then Canezera, then Sosha, then Pajamaya, you'll cover several kilometers of this cycling or walking route. You'll be amazed by the beauty of Prague, it turns out. It's really cool there. And these moments, they change the perception of the city as a whole. These are worth paying attention to because for an investor, if we're talking about where the price will increase, or for a so-called passive investor who just buys to live,
and there, if anything, suddenly wants to.
There, if anything, suddenly becomes more expensive or suddenly needs to be changed, I'll still make a profit. Such a passive investor, so to speak. Not a specialized investor, a random investor. For them, this is actually very, very convenient as well. A convenient trigger. The only question we always ask clients is, look, there's something like a beautiful KNSR or another attractive object, and across from it, there's some old panel building. And here's the question. Do you want to buy an apartment in this new, beautiful residential complex, but look out the windows at the old panel building? Or do you want to buy an apartment in the old panel building, but look out the windows every day at this beautiful residential complex? Here you have to choose, because the price differs by 2 times.
And it's clear that the interior is also different.
Well, yes, the entrance group there. How?
I lived in Krakow, in an area called Wislan Terraces. It's also among the top 3 complexes. It's not even an area, just a complex. There were cherry tree terraces there, 1.0, and then while we lived there. In 4 years, they built Wislan Terraces 2.0. And it's a truly futuristic project, even, I think, by Warsaw standards. So there they have, what do you call them? Marble columns, right? Marble floors. Marble columns for Warsaw are considered quite luxurious. People would come there for tours. They designed it so cleverly that they maximized the development so that everything faces inward, so they all look at each other in the Wislan terraces. But still, yes, those outer apartments, they face Rondo Krzyżewski. It's Rondo Krzyżewski. You look at Rondo, at the cars, and simply at a 5-story building from the 80s. An important question, is there a way to find out about this? How can people learn about this in advance besides our video? Yes. Is there another way to find out? What should they read? Where should they look?
Actually, I would just leave a list of literature that, well, literature, newspaper publications, online publications that specifically write about these projects. You can learn a lot there. That is, some of them are paid, some of them are free. By the way, the paid ones don't cost a lot of money, but it's the publications that primarily write about this, you'll know about it. And of course, the Warsaw, Urban Planning Plan, that's what it's called, the Spatial Development Plan. You just type it into Google, enter the first site. There's a map there. On this map, it will be indicated what, where, and when will change. And for each district, there are tons of articles about what Warsaw plans to do with each of the plots in the next 20 years. Yes, by streets, by small plots, and such details.
Let's put some links in the description for people, right? Of course, yes. So there will be links in the description, guys. Thank you for watching this video. I believe it was useful for you. And if so, support us by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Below the video, there is a comment section. Ask your questions, discuss the episode, and we will gladly respond to your questions.